What is up, CineNerds? I am JP.
And I'm Ryan. What's going on?
So
How y'all doing tonight? We're live again,
yeah, so
JP.
we're
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 fucking
not
live.
we're not we're not streaming to Facebook for whatever reason. I got it all set up. It was connected, but when I clicked start, it would not connect to Facebook. So I'm not sure why it keeps. There's something I'm screwing up. It was last week. It was Facebook wouldn't let me switch to CineNerds, and now this week I've had it up, had it all set up, ready to go, and it is not connecting. So we're just live on YouTube. So here we are.
Here we are, reviewing what I thought was going to be a shit show. I'll just say that to start it.
Today we are doing Kraven the Hunter. And I'm going to share this to my socials since obviously we're not streaming to Facebook. Um,
I just shared it to my Facebook. I didn't put it on our CineNerds yet, but I tagged CineNerds. Gotta straighten out the. I always hate when I can see my beard line when I'm looking in the camera here. Because when we're filming in the room, I get the camera like videoing us, so I'm not looking at that type of thing. But now I see my fucking ugly mug in the screen. Now I'm like, do I need to level this beard? Am I all right?
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get used to this live thing and trying to share things as we're doing this, and I'm not used to that.
I just always get the line stuck in my head. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
All right. So Craven the Hunter. And before we get into Craven the Hunter, anybody that's in here, go ahead and share this to your socials. Let's try to get some people in here. And also, CineNerdsPodcast.com. I'm back on there. I'm trying to keep things updated. I got a little behind on it the past week and a half. Um,
How dare you? How dare you?
Shit happens. So it is what it is. But CineNerdsPodcast.com, we've got all of our links, all of our socials. You can follow us there and keep up to date there. And pretty soon, I'm going to get back to doing my written reviews. I've fallen off of that the past couple months between tour and then everything that had happened. I've not done any new updates on the written reviews.
And you know what? To further that too, like on our CineNerdsPodcast.com, there is our letterbox on there because I had been doing reviews on the letterbox pretty regularly. For a second, I fell off as well, but the it's so bad if we get behind even for a little bit because I watched so many movies that like now I don't even remember a few of the movies I've watched that I want to review. So now I got to go back and try. Did I see that or not? So got some stuff to definitely update in there for sure.
Yeah, I've not been updating the letterbox in a while, but I've not been watching a lot lately. I've been so busy and so behind on shit that I've not really had much to actually review.
I watched Aaron Paul sci-fi movie recently called Ash, and my wife rewatched it, and I came home there and I saw the tail end again of her watching it. And it's kind of like Dead Space meets The Thing, if you will, but low budget, obviously, but it was pretty solid. I was
So
impressed with it, but
so
that's the kind of
talk
thing I want to review.
yeah, talking about the thing, that reminds me. So they played I went and watched Superman tonight. Which some of you guys know I posted I was watching went and watched new Superman. However, they played a trailer at the beginning of this film on a movie I hadn't seen anything on, and it's a new Brandon Routh movie. It's called Ick, and it looks like it's in the vein of like a creature feature, like The Thing or The Faculty or Slither. It looks pretty cool. It comes out the end of this month, so I'm actually um, pretty excited to check that one out. And I love Brandon Routh.
Just want to say hi real quick. We got Megan in the chat, we got Susan in the chat, and my boy Evan Dooley coming in. I love you, Evan.
So yeah,
Tell me more about. You said Ick is what it's called.
it's called Ick. It just looks like a creature feature, kind of like The Thing or The Faculty or Slither, but stars Brandon Routh. I'm assuming they played the trailer because he was a previous Superman, and they played at the beginning of Superman. So,
what was the movie I just saw a trailer for that I want to check out? It's called Together. Have you seen the
I
trailer
don't
for
think
that?
I haven't seen that one.
So it looks like, so from the trailer, it's like it's a horror about a couple, boyfriend girlfriend, and every time they touch, they fuse and become one person. And I don't know what goes from there, but the way they show it, the elements in the trailer really were appealing in the sense of a horror aspect. Like there's no getting out of it, that type deal.
I see Rick's in the chat. So the whole damn enchilada episode must be done. They just did one of the, was it Revelations, Hellraiser Revelations? I think they did.
So,
I was
so
in the
this
chat and I was watching, but I can't remember which Hellraiser because those all those at the tail end of Hellraisers run together for me.
it was both Revelations and Judgment that they were reviewing because they
Okay.
said they had to cap it off. I think Megan even talked about it in one of my comments I made on their chat. It was just basically she instigated it, said they had to finish the series and they were going for it. But I was supposed to jump over to that, but as you know, JP, I've had some personal things going on today, so we won't get into that stuff. But I really wish I could have made it for that chat. How'd it go?
The chat was pretty good tonight. I mean, obviously I had to dip out to finish setting up our live episode, but I was on for about the first 30 minutes. So the whole damn
Wait a minute, wait a
enchilada.
minute. Rick, how the hell did you make 30 plus minutes of material out of Judgment and whatever the other one was?
They kind of dove in and was like, "These movies suck."
So, funny story. So, if you don't know, if you've listened to the podcast, if you don't know by now, Hellraiser is my favorite horror franchise of all time, except for when I got to Judgment. Judgment, I don't think I finished it still. It is embarrassing to the franchise. The makeup, everything was just horrible. And it was so bad that I'm going to be honest, I didn't even go into Revelation. But I've been told that for what budget it had and for what it was going for, it delivered better than Judgment did. So I'm supposed to give it a look, but I don't know.
uh, the reboot. Once you get to those later ones, the reboot's the only one I like. Once we got to the later films.
I liked all the way up till Judgment, and then also the reboot. I can't praise the reboot more if I tried, and I really, really hope they. I really would like to see who would do it, give it another opportunity to do well.
Yeah, Rick's saying in the chat now he wants you to do a ranking episode with him on the Hellraisers.
Oh fuck yeah, let's go! And I'll tell you right now, I'll just tell you, I have no problems. I'll give the main thing away. Best one of them all is Hellraiser 2. Sorry.
I knew that. I knew you was gonna say that because we've talked about that in the Hellraiser 2 episode.
that being my favorite horror franchise, that's my favorite horror film of all time. So I yeah, I'm a huge fan for it.
I don't know how that can be your favorite horror film of all time in a world that
Listen,
we have John Carpenter's The Thing.
listen, I understand what you're going for there, and I also so this is one of those weird things where we get into genres, right? So there's all the subgenres of horror, and I really feel like there's different elements going on here, and so you got your zombie horror, you've got your creature feature, you've got your demons. Hellraiser would probably fall into that world. So I guess it's all opinion based, but for me, there's nothing more horrific than in that movie where they put the schizophrenic on a bed and they give him a razor and he thinks bugs are crawling all over him and he takes a straight razor and just starts slicing himself. And I saw it at such a young age. It left a profound impact on me because I was like, holy shit. Like, because at that time when I saw that, we weren't getting that kind of level of horror, that kind of darkness. So that was brutal for me.
Yeah, they're saying my audio's back down again, so I'm turning it up a little bit. I don't know why it would be back down. It's showing it's normal, but I had an issue last
Oh, yeah.
week.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just saw Brandy's comment and Jeremy's comment. We do have a packed house tonight. It's good to see so many people in the chat. What's up, everyone?
Yay! So we've not even talked
Yay.
about the movie yet. We've just been rambling. So
I think these folks in the chat are craving some Kraven.
they're craving some Kraven. Um, so last week, I know what happened last week. Like my audio went down and I didn't turn it back up. this new interface that I got, it's the same as the one I had, but it's an updated model, and so the input dial is very sensitive. And last week I put my phone down, like I had it open. I put my wallet side open like this, and it bumped the dial, and it turned it down, and so the audio for me went down after like the first 10 minutes, and that was why, because it's so that dial's so sensitive. So I've got to be like really conscious of it.
Is it like sensitive, your old black haircut sensitive, or is it
There's nothing wrong with the old haircut.
tonight's? Anyways, okay, we got Josh Phillips there. He just said Craven was good. So sorry to deflect back into the movie, but I I gotta say it wasn't bad. It
Yeah,
definitely wasn't bad.
initial impressions. Let's go ahead and dive in. So, wasn't bad.
Yeah, let's do this. So no, and all of us are pretty aware. And again, speaking of movies that are so bad you just haven't watched them. Um, the um, the what was the other one? Madam Web. I have not watched that yet, and I heard horrible things about that. So my heart was just destroyed for anything Sonyverse with Marvel. I was like, I give up. I'm not even going to bother wasting my time. Craven was supposed to be darker, supposed to be rated R, and I was holding off because of Madam Web, and I just didn't watch it. Finally, I did, and was it amazing? No. But was it as bad as everyone made it? Not at all. It was a decent movie.
Yeah, that was me. I literally avoided this movie because Sony had been just they had just been dropping the ball on a lot of their superhero films. And after Morbius, I was left so disgusted with Morbius, and then everything with Madam Web, and then Craven comes, and I'm just like, I'm not interested. Even though I knew it was rated R, I was just like, I'm not interested in this. And then this last few weeks ago, while we was on tour, me and Rick Stitch actually watched this on a day off. It was on Netflix, and so we was like, "Hey, let's watch this." And I was I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this. Now, that's not saying that I loved this film. That's saying I had a very low expectation for this film, and because of films like Morbius. And so when I watched it, and
Gosh, yeah.
I was like, this film's actually not bad.
So Morbius for me, like that was one that I was really bummed out about. That one I wanted a brutal fucking movie. I wanted vampire gore in its fullest, especially since we were focused on him and not the superhero element. So I would have loved to see that do a lot better. I feel bad at this point for Jared Leto. He's just not getting the right movies for these characters he's playing because they're all good characters. He just between director and I don't blame him for this, but I blame director and story because those were all just rough.
Yeah, Morbius. The only thing I liked about Morbius was Matt Smith. I liked him as the villain, but outside of that, that movie was garbage. It was so bad.
Um, Evan, to answer your question, yes, you can watch it as a standalone. Most of these you can, and they're trying to give backstory. I think that they were trying to work towards a Sinister Six movie, is what I think the intention was. I don't think it'll ever get that far because they've just been shit on for everything they've tried with this stuff. So yeah, I don't think we'll get that. But yeah, you can watch these as standalones. Most of the Sonyverse you can.
Yeah, I mean, even I mean, you'd have to watch all the Spider Mans, but you could even conceivably watch at least the first two Spider Man movies and not be completely lost within the MCU.
Yeah, but are you talking about the Sony versions,
Yeah.
the original ones? Yeah,
No,
yeah. Okay.
well, yeah, those, but I'm talking about even the new ones. They do tie in the MCU, but I mean, you could actually kind of pull it off a little bit. But the spin-offs with Venom and obviously Madam Web and all these other ones you could watch, without being caught up with the MCU.
Um, you got a question about your GoBot and your speaker and the picture
Yeah,
you posted.
I've got Psykill. I've also got uh Rowdy Piper, and I've also got the Honky Tonk Man up there.
but that Psych Hill's pretty cool. I love Psych Hill. I just started looking back at GoBot World because it brings back a lot of good memories. So GoBot's a rule.
Yeah. Greatest.
Um,
Hey, Rick, I know you're a wrestling fan. Greatest intercontinental champion of all time, the Honky Tonk Man.
I like Roddy Piper.
Yeah, there's Piper.
That's literally a man after my own heart right there. Um, yeah, no. So Kraven. So what do you think about the actors in this? What do you think about the story? And then we'll round this out with some of the they kind of threw us some curveballs with some characters I wasn't expecting, like Calypso. So tell me your thoughts on those.
You know, there was a lot in this film, and and I'll be honest with you, some of these characters, because I didn't read the Craven comics. What little I know of Craven came from the Spider-Man cartoons, and so it's not a character that I knew a lot about, or even some of the villains, or even some of the people he kind of um, was in and out of his comics. But uh, everybody that kind of threw in here, I think it got a little overwhelming, little bit, but I think it all kind of it ended up working out. I think in the end, um, the character that kind of slowed time down or stopped time. What was his name? I don't even know who he was as a character. But Calypso was actually really cool to actually have in this film.
I don't remember that character's name either, but he wasn't horrible. The but Calypso, I was definitely happy to see. But then the other stuff, though, like for me, like to your point, growing up, Craven was the one of the least bottom of the barrel Spider-Man characters I could have ever thought to like. He was so like I honestly was bored by him. I read a couple of his comics and the interactions with Spider-Man, and it made for an interesting read for a comic when Spider-Man would fight him. But at the end of the day, he just never caught my anything. Like nothing grabbed on. This movie, though, that's why I was remotely happy about it because to me, it kind of makes him almost a little bit like uh, he almost seems because he's a hunter that he's like got this badass but good side, kind of like Boba Fett would a little bit,
Hmm.
like the Boba Fett we know in the books,
Yeah,
not
he's
the
just kind of an anti-hero.
yeah. And so like I think like in his mind he thinks he's doing right with his hunt and his passions, and that's where he gets tied into Spider-Man. He gets fixated on Spider-Man and the hunt. So, but I like how they give this origin story a little life. I like how they build him up. I like the chemistry with his family dynamic with his brother and his father. Um, Russell Crowe, Russell fucking Crowe.
He made the
Uh,
jump. He made the jump from DC to Marvel.
well, no, he was already in Marvel. Wasn't he in Thor? He played not Zeus.
You're thinking Anthony Hopkins.
No. That was he. Fuck. Was it Zeus? Because
Oh, you talking about in the last one, Love and
that
Thunder?
yeah, that was
Was it
garbage too
what?
though.
What was that the one you're saying he was in?
Yeah, he played like the main one of the main gods.
Oh, maybe he was in that one.
Was it? I think it was
I
him.
completely blocked that one out. So,
Her-
uh,
Hercules? No, it wasn't Hercules. It was Hercules' dad.
well, that would be Zeus.
So yeah, he played Zeus.
Yeah. So, well, he was still in DC first because he played
Fair.
Jor-El. He played Jor-El in Superman,
That's
the Man of
right.
Steel. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I've ever told you. So I'm friends with the singer from Gaelic Storm, Patrick, and Gaelic Storm, they wrote a song called "I Punched Russell Crowe," and there is a legitimate story behind this interaction that happened between him and Russell Crowe. And he actually he said that his bouncers and him were outside, and he ordered his bouncers to stand back so that these two could fight. And while Russell Crowe went to pull his shirt over his head to take his shirt off, he punched him in the face and ran. And then he wrote a song about it, and I'm like, that's amazing. But back to Russell Crowe in a different way. So, did you happen to catch? It's only for a really quick second. They totally gave a. I don't know if they're paying respects or just a bad idea, but it was definitely gladiator moment when the hands dragging through the wheat.
Yeah,
Do you see
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, that was as soon as I saw it, I'm like gladiator, Russell Crowe. That's why we're doing this, I think. But I was kind of a cool little nod. Let's
Brandy's in the comment and said, "Eventually, I have to show you the VHS box she gave me. Whenever you come
I
down,
did I did see that, and we will. It probably after your festival, we'll
yeah,
make that happen.
yeah, yeah." And there's one in there that I want for myself, but I already said I may end up giving it to you because you will absolutely love it.
All right, I'm counting the days.
And
Um,
Rick's in here saying Love and Thunder was good. It was
I
good. It was
disagree.
good. It was
Oh, it's
good,
so bad.
but it was not that good. It was a hard watch, especially after Ragnarok.
I guess I don't like the direction they took Thor. Thor shouldn't have become all comedy, all cheese, and that's what they did with him. He's another one that I would like to see have been darker because the darker side of him in Marvel Comics is amazing storytelling.
Yeah.
So them making him all cheese and laughter, it doesn't float for me. Like I need these guys to stop trying to be comedians and start being like dark actors with this stuff because I don't think when is Disney going to get it? When are they going to get the formula here? Like their main demo, their main group of people who watch and love their movies and their those franchises. We don't want cheese. I don't know if they're trying to appeal to the kids for the next generation, and the kids then go and review bomb it. But we want darker. We want grittier. We want more edgy stuff that's going to pull us in and give us story and context. And it just hasn't been happening.
So back to Kraven. I'm gonna go ahead and say my favorite scene in this whole movie, and maybe you disagree, the whole opening sequence, the whole opening of this fucking movie, with
The prison.
Kraven going into the prison and fucking everybody up in that prison. I mean, he's in there slitting throats and dude, it gets brutal. It's fucking that whole opening is fucking killer.
No, I completely agree. And then they use the footage of that through most of the movie to show, his enemies who he is. But that sequence was cool, especially when he was in close quarters where he wanted to be and put himself in that position just to take out this one individual. It was pretty rad, and I wish they would have kept that pace a little bit more through the movie. They did, but it wasn't as action packed.
Wasn't
But
as good. Yeah, they did a
no,
little bit like when he killed the poachers uh, coming out with their vehicles when he stopped them at the gate. He did a little more there. He does it a little bit here and there throughout the film, but it's like as brutal as those couple scenes were and bloody. It was like, man, for a rated R, I would have should have kept this really going and made it even more as the movie went on. But by the time you got to the poachers, it nosedives a bit when it comes to some of those fight sequences.
so to those fight sequences and to the throat ripping and all the good stuff that we were talking about, I would have liked to see them take this movie from that beginning section, that sequence in the jail, and just have him fall further down the darkness hole. Like I didn't want to see him have this story where he's trying to rescue his brother and he's trying to bring happy family scenario and he's trying to be that good person to and prove to Calypso he can be good. I mean, the Calypso story arc was cool, but I need him to spiral into that darkness that makes him this villain for Spider-Man. So that's what I wish they would have done with this, and they didn't. But it still was not bad. My hopes and dreams aside.
The other really good scene is the chase scene when his brother gets kidnapped. Now, I'm also going to say this is very G.I. Joe. This whole scene felt like the chase scene in the original G.I. Joe live action movie, where they had the body suits on, the mech suits, and they were chasing the vehicles through the city. It felt very similar to that, but it was still a really fun scene.
I like when I like all aspects of that too, and I say that because it's Craven tying into his animal instinct, if you will. And when those eyes change, when you see his eyes change with the yellow hue, like the lion, you just feel like something good's about to happen. And his chases, his logical approach of, okay, they're going here, so if I go this way, I can cut them off and go cut a little bit of the distance and close the gap. And they kept doing that. It happened like 3 times over, where he closed the gap, but he used the path of where they're going to plan his route. And it was cool how they kind of structure that in the cinematography.
Um, what'd you think of Rhino? That was a surprise for me going in because I didn't know Rhino was actually going to be in the film, and him end up being like the kind of the main bad guy.
So Rhino, I like what they did with his aesthetic. I like I mean, it was very CGI, but I like what they did. However, why they gotta like? I don't know the comic version of Rhino, so I can't speak to that. I know a lot about comics. Some of these guys I just don't follow though. And Rhino, again, same with Kraven. Wasn't really a big fan. Didn't follow. But did he steal Bane's thing where he needs to power up or power down in this case because that's what's keeping him normal?
I always thought in the comics he had some kind of, as I don't know much about Rhino. Honestly, I didn't read a lot of Spider Man. I was an X Men fan, so um, some of these characters I know them. I've seen them, in the cartoon. I've seen them in some comics. I honestly don't know the background on Rhino, but I always thought he wore a Rhino suit of some sort.
Yeah, I think it was standard storytelling where he starts off with this situation that makes him become the Rhino. Something happens, either he's cured or his status improves, and then a mech suit comes into play. Is at least what I saw out of a lot of it. But to your point, though, I think that us not knowing some of these villains and all of these characters, we're the average person who's going to go to this movie. A lot of the people
Yeah,
don't know who that is, and that's why it's so good for the storytelling to be done right, in my
I'm
opinion, in the beginning.
I'm sure that we enjoyed some of this more than the hardcore fans because they probably
Oh
tore it
yeah,
apart. They probably tore it apart, and this just wasn't one that I knew a lot about some of the characters, and just because my lack of reading Spider-Man growing up and some of these other spin-offs.
I there was a comic and I still have it. It's in rough shape from probably 1984, 5, 6, somewhere in there. It's a yellow cover and it's Spider-Man. He's got his web shooting everywhere, but there's the grave underneath him, and it's just Peter Parker, and that was the first comic of Spider-Man that pulled me in and got my interest because I'm like, did he come back from the dead? Like I didn't know anything about him, and I'm like, what is this? And of course, I didn't understand how comics work because that was one of the first comics I read, and it was. To be continued next comic, and I was like, what is this madness? So then I had to start getting comics, but I never went down the road of the villains. I never really followed down their path. I just like the direct interactions with the main characters and the villains. So I think the average moviegoer, though, who's going to these, like I said, they're not all die hard fans. And the die hard fans were probably cringing at a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
So
Well, and 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 I know I don't know if I said this on a podcast, but I have many conversations and I post a lot, and I've said this for years. Uh, I'm more of a DC guy, and not because of the films, because of the comics. That's what I read. I read Superman. I read the Green Lantern. I was a huge. Obviously, I mean, I've got a Green Lantern tattoo. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, and
put those guns away, JP.
I've shown the Green Lantern tattoo. Um, but I'm a huge Green Lantern
uh,
fan. I read a lot of Superman, Green Lantern, a lot of Batman. Uh, and then I dove a lot into Image comics. Obviously, when Image came out, was a huge Spawn fan and things like that. Um, Mar-
Witchblade,
Marvel, yeah, Witchblade, Pit, so a lot of those from back in the day. But
the Max was awesome.
The Max was good. But when it come to Marvel, I was never a big Marvel fan other than the X-Men, and I religiously read the X-Men for like 10 fucking years. Like I was probably a bigger X-Men fan than I was anything for a long time. But when it went to diving back into
We got a guest appearance. Sorry,
I've got Bowie's actually in here with me. Um,
this is
so
Binks.
when it dives into Spider-Man and the Avengers or Captain America, Iron Man. I didn't read a lot of those books. There was some I read, but I didn't dive into it like I did the X Men.
Yeah, X Men lured me in wholeheartedly, primarily because of Wolverine. Because I've talked about it before on the show. Wolverine was always a staple for me, a standard. He was just this cranky little old man who was always pissed off, and I loved it. And he was indestructible, essentially. But when he started crossing over with the X Men more in like the early '80s, I was here for it, and that's when I started reading all the X Men comics, and I got into Age of Apocalypse, and which they have a sequel coming out called Era Apocalypse. I found out this
Hmm.
October, which I'm excited to read.
I
But
still have my Alpha Omega Apocalypse
yeah,
books. I still have all the Onslaught
those are
series.
solid. Like,
I have all the Onslaught series books too.
there was the something song too. Something was an
Uh,
Apocalypse song.
yeah, it's
It
and
was
I know which one you're talking. I can't think of the name of it right now though.
But yeah, no, but it's easy to go off on a tangent, but it's easy like when you get vested in these comics, and like I was talking about how you've got that, some of these were bi-monthly, some of them were weekly, some of them were monthly, and you'd have to get the next story to find out what happened, because we didn't at that time, they weren't doing the graphic novels as diehard as they do now,
Hmm.
so you couldn't just wait and read them all just like we binge streaming. But hold on, Josh, I do want to talk about what you said. He said he likes Venom. I agree to an extent. I do think that Hardy's Venom was great. I
The
don't like the Spider-Man 3 Venom.
uh the Venom movies were generic. Honestly, in my opinion, I felt like they were pretty straightforward and generic, but they were fun. I didn't honestly. I haven't watched the third one. I've still not watched the third one, but the first two, I thought they were kind of a generic storytelling, but they were fun films.
I think the third one is the funnest of the three. You like the first one just out of obligation because it was just you're building there and there's that chemistry. But now they've got established chemistry, and part three was solid. I was here for it. Plus, there was other symbiotes in that, so it got a lot more fun. But I think that's another example of what Sony does with some of these characters and these directors, because like I said, I was here for Morbius. I wanted the best out of Morbius, and I do think that Jared Leto was the guy for that, and Hardy was the guy for Venom. I just don't like the director of stories with these. Sony just sucks with that stuff.
Yeah. Um. The ending of this film. Uh.
Jessica and Megan both said, "Welcome to the gun show," about your
I
guns there,
saw it. I
buddy.
saw it. I started to say something, but I'm a skinny little guy. I know I
Yeah,
don't
me
have the
too.
big. I see you post on your story the other day of you on a treadmill.
Yeah, I did 9 miles on the bike. I'm trying to start small.
I
We're gonna
saw
make it
that.
happen.
I saw that. I'm saying I'm not making fun. I'm proud of you. I saw that.
I was making fun of myself, but at least I had good music for it. I don't
So
listen. I saw Kraven and I was like, I got to get past the gym because that
you
dude's fucking tore
you
up.
saw that fucking six pack. Okay, fun trivia
Uh
fact. I
oh.
looked this up. The photographer that was taking photos of Aaron for all the promo for that film. He came back and said those abs were real. Said that he is really ripped like that. Said that was not photoshopped or anything.
Oh yeah,
He's
for sure. Yeah, that's why do you think they chose him to be James Bond? Like it's yeah, they're going for the sex sells thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. He's definitely not, and I say this is the straightest man in the world too. So, but he's not hard on the eyes.
no,
Let's
no.
just be real.
He's come a long way since Kick Ass. So the ending,
That
well,
was a
never.
horrible typo, Jeremy.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
um. So the ending of this film, you actually get to see Rhino actually Rhino out, and um,
Full
it
horns
was
and everything.
yeah, it was an interesting way to fight. He kind of gets trampled by a herd. And that's where I'm going with the opening of this film was so strong for this climatic end to be so abrupt and how Rhino was defeated, how he what he had, now what he did to his father, I thought was really cool. But I mean, it could have showed more.
We've been jaded because we watch so much fucked up horror that we're like, give us more, give us blood. We want the
Well,
full mall details.
I get that, but and I know that's part of us because we're a bit jaded from it. But you start this movie so strong to end it so weak. You know, it's it was to me
So
it was a bit of a letdown.
so I do think that they could have cut some of the lead up to that battle. They could have cut some of that and added more to the ending battle for sure. I do think though that the use of the herd in his benefit was a sound strategy for being so under strong, like under what's the word I'm looking for? He's not as strong as Rhino was, so
Yeah,
he had to make use of what he had in the surroundings, and he can talk to the animals clearly. So I mean that made sense, but again, it was
he's
kind
like
of
the
abrupt,
he's like the Aquaman of the land animals.
a little bit, a little bit. Uh, Remember when he's leaving the prison and he runs into the wolf and the wolf like cowers? I was like,
Yeah,
huh, interesting.
walks into the blizzard, and the wolves are coming up on him, and his eyes change, and the wolf kind of cowers back,
Jo-
runs away.
Josh Josh brought up kick ass. He said kick ass, kick assed. So
Yeah,
it's
it did. That's why I said Aaron's came a long way since Kick Ass. You know, he was.
holy shit! I forgot he was in that.
That's what I said a minute ago. That's why he said that. I said we was talking about how ripped he was. I was like, yeah, he's came a
Yeah,
long way since Kick Ass because he was the skinny,
I don't know why I
awkward.
completely glazed over that.
Yeah,
That's funny. Holy
yeah.
shit! I guess I
Well,
mean I need a Hollywood trainer. That's what I
welcome
need.
to welcome to the podcast, Ryan.
I
um,
just I just assumed he had that Hollywood trainer. That's all.
Megan says
But yeah,
her favorite scene was the forest fight, and I did really honestly the forest fight was a better fight than the final battle. That no doubt about it. And with Calypso shooting him with the bow,
yeah.
that was pretty brutal.
So Calypso is one of those characters I hope they if they continue anything with this stuff that I'd like to see more expansion upon. Because I liked when after she did that with the arrow, she's like, "There's things you don't know about me," or something to that effect. And he was like, "Wait a minute." Like, took him back a second. He's like, "Okay, all right." Yeah, no, she was pretty badass. I like how the interactions happened too from start to finish. How the fates brought them together or whatever it was, and that her grandma gave her that stuff that gave him his powers, and then he found her later on, and it was not horrible by any means. Like I said, I did enjoy it.
Yeah. Um. Did you look at box office on this film?
I did not.
I did.
So okay, so I guess I'll guess budget first, and then I'll guess the box office. So let's go budget. Sony was going hard. They got some decent castings in there. Serious CGI. 230 million.
Way off. 110 million.
That really is impressive. Actually, that makes
That's
me.
actually pretty for as good as this film actually looks, and it being within the Spider-Man universe, that's actually kind of fairly cheap for
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Because like most of these movies are, a couple hundred mil at least, and so just for them to kind of lowball it and execute it and deliver it, what are you doing? I don't know if you
uh
could jump on my shoulder and start swatting me or what, but
um.
um,
All right, box office. What do you think it did?
all right. So 110 million budget then, so we would have had to see 220 million. It was pretty well marketed. 170 million.
Way off.
Way off. Did
This film bombed. This film
it,
fucking
ooh,
bombed.
ooh. That well, everyone talks enough shit about it, but I
It's
mean, is this number just the box office for theaters? This isn't DVDs and all that and streaming.
no, it's just box office.
Okay, so then if it bombed, let's go 43 mil.
You're still off, but you're closer.
Jesus.
Uh, U.S. it made 25 million.
God.
Worldwide, it made 62 million.
Wow.
So yeah, this movie lost like $50 million.
Aaron, I'm sorry, bro.
So the odds on us getting a Kraven 2 are probably not going to happen.
I don't believe I have seen Anna Karenina. Evan said not to throw a wrench in the vibe. Aaron is amazing, and Anna Karenina, top 10 for me, he said.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know either. Megan said it gave Rambo First Blood vibes.
Yeah, she's talking about the forest scene. I can see that.
Yeah, because I guess I can see that with the bow. Yeah. All right.
We want to dive into ratings.
Sure.
You're thinking awful
This one
hard.
was your choice. This one was your choice, so I'll go into this. Um, I've spoke very well of this. However, uh, I only speak well of it because it did not let me down in the sense that I went into it with really low expectations. JP and I have been talking about this a lot lately, where when you go into a movie with low expectations, you usually come out liking it a lot more and you enjoy it for what it is.
Hmm.
But if you go with high expectations, more often than not, you're let down. So for me, I went in with very low expectations. I came out pleasantly surprised. However, it still isn't this isn't one I'm running out to grab and add to the collection. So I'm gonna go with 2.8 nerds for me.
You're not far off from me. I'm a little higher. I'm going to give it a little higher because I had fun. But like you, I had no desire to see this film. Didn't want to go to the theater to see it. Just Sony had just let me down so much. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, with Morbius being such a fucking disaster, that I just had no desire to see this film. So when I watched it, I had a fucking low expectation, and man, I came out of that movie watching it, and a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, wow, that was actually really fucking good. But like you, it was because I had such a low expectation. I came out of it like, wow, that movie was so fucking good compared to what I thought it was going to be. But I also watched this movie and immediately told you, or sometime after I watched it, I said, "Have you watched this yet? If you haven't, you need to watch this film. It's actually a lot better than we all thought it would be." So that being said, I do recommend if you're a comic book fan, give this and you like superhero, anti-hero type films, watch this movie. It's a pretty good action film with some good kills and some pretty good fight scenes. Um, as it stands as a rating, this is definitely not, you know, a high rating film for me. This one's going to sit at a 3.2 is where I've got it at.
It's a higher rating than what I gave it. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but again, not horrible though. I'm not mad at you for suggesting this one, JP. It's not a party animal scenario.
yeah. I mean, Party Animal is way better than Craven.
Come on, Megan. What do you got? No, just kidding.
Hey, Megan loved the Party Animal.
I know she did. That's why she always defends it and always stands by you with it. So that's fine. Everyone's got their tastes. I'm not knocking it. But me personally, ooh, no. Uh,
You got any film recommendations?
so yes, I'm gonna suggest one everyone should see here, especially if you're a fan of what we just reviewed as far as comic book movies. I'm gonna suggest that everyone run, and I say run because Marvel has not done anything right in a while, to check out Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts was a breath of fresh air from the crap I've seen out of Marvel lately, and I loved every second of it while I was watching it. I love that it's a group of misfits brought together under a crazy scenario, and I love how the characters develop in it. it was done well. It's a great new addition to Marvel, and I'm happy to see the direction going back in an upward trend.
And I haven't watched that one yet, and I have been actually really excited to watch that one. And I wanted to go to theater and watch it, and I think I was on tour, and it was one of the ones I just couldn't get out to watch while I was on tour. And I've been chomping at the bits to actually watch that one, and really, truthfully, just because the trailers look pretty good. But I'm a huge Winter Soldier fan, so uh, I've been stoked to watch that one. So I'm gonna watch it pretty soon.
I love the Bucky we get in this one because he's trying to do the right thing by all accounts throughout this, and you can see that it's just not sitting well with him how it's happening and how things are happening, and he wants to make things better. So it starts to wear on the soul a little bit, and you can see the anger starting to build up inside of him. It was definitely good. I appreciated this.
So I'm gonna recommend an old movie that I just did a rewatch on yesterday, and some of you guys already know because you saw me post asking what am I watching today. Um, Young Sherlock Holmes. I fucking love this movie, and if you've never watched it, Young Sherlock Holmes is. If you're a fan of Goonies, if you're a fan of a lot of those type of movies from the '80s, this movie was written by Christopher Columbus, who did a lot of those films. Um, but if you're a fan of movies like The Goonies and stuff like that, go watch that '80s 1980s version of Young Sherlock Holmes because it's pretty violent, man. I mean, especially for more of a what always I always thought was supposed to be more of a kids film. Man, that movie's fucking it's creepy. It's a wild fucking ride. So if you've never seen it, go back and check that one out. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. I actually bought this on sale like a month or two ago, um, just on a just where I've shopped so many digital movie sales. I probably bought it for like $5, and um, just because I wanted to revisit it because I hadn't seen it in so long. Man, I fucking love that film. Why have we not done an episode on the never ending story? Josh is asking. What's funny is I've actually thought about that.
So if we do that, because I've thought about that as well, actually. If we do that, I kind of want to do the trilogy. I'd want to do all three of them.
I've never seen the third one. I've only seen the first two.
I'm almost positive there's a three, except it's really bad.
I knew that there was a kind of a made for TV. I don't know if it was actually a part
Yeah,
three, but it was some kind of little never ending story made for TV. I used to actually have that on VHS. I don't know if I still have it or not. Um, but I think I bought it as a blind buy, and I don't remember ever actually watching it. But the first two
yeah,
definitely, the first two I definitely watched because I mean, obviously the second one had what's his
Jonathan, whatever.
Jonathan Brandis
Yeah,
was
and
the main kid.
he did that shortly after Sequest, and we all know how that went from there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I always liked Jonathan Brandis. I mean, I liked I loved like the movies like Sidekicks, and obviously he was in like It. He was in the Stephen King's It original series.
I,
I
I always
like
get he was
Sequest. I was a Sequest fan.
I was too. And when we were talking about the Raimi brothers, I didn't know it was Ted Raimi. I thought it was Sam Raimi that was in Sequest. So
Hmm.
I definitely was mixing those guys up for a minute. No, but I love the thing about Brandis was that he was kind of definitively like that cheesy '80s kid who was like you could see him in a Life cereal commercial,
Hmm.
but at the same time he delivered news on screen on shows. So he was solid for what he did.
Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened with him. He was too young for that to happen, and it's unfortunate. But I was always a fan of his. Megan's wanting us to do episodes on all the Crow films.
All of them.
It says all the Crow versions.
That could be interesting. Um,
I will probably surprise a lot of you with well, who my favorite would be, but outside of obviously Brandon's going to be everybody's top pick as a favorite, but as for my number two, and that might actually surprise you.
So my wife and I were watching The First Crow recently, and I hadn't watched it in some time, and I forgot how absolutely amazing it was. I just love every part of it, honestly. But I was incorrect. I thought the table scene when he's walking on the table and has his arms outstretched, I thought that was the scene where the stray bullet made its way in and killed him. And I found out it was not that. It was they had already finished the film. It was towards the end, and it was one of the sequences when the people break into the apartment to kill him and mess with Shelley, and goes from there. And he got shot in that window scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
Jeremy says there's only one Crow film and a decent TV series. I disagree. There is three good Crow films.
Do you include Edward Furlong?
Nope.
Okay, I just was making sure. I'll give The Crow 1 and 2.
1, 2, and Salvation.
It's been a long time since Salvation, and I don't. Why am I not remembering the TV series?
The TV series starred Jeremy. Tell me his name. I can't think of his name right now, but the guy that played the Asian guy that played in the Double Dragon movie. He played one of the main bad guys, assassins in John Wick 3, I think it was. Or 2.
Oh, John Woo.
No, no. Uh, he's an actor. John Woo is a director.
Oh, sorry. I know who you're
Dukakis.
talking about.
Dukakis, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
is
yeah.
his last name. Uh, he's a badass like martial artist. Like he plays the Crow. Bart Dukakis. I knew I had his last name right.
Yeah, Jeremy got it. Josh, I like City Angels too. The one of the reasons I kind of almost like City of Angels is
Deftones.
selfish. Deftones.
Deftones.
Yeah, you put Deftones live in a movie, and especially a Crow movie, and I'm like sold. By the way, we're live, so I'm going to discuss this. At 6 p.m. today, Deftones dropped a new single. It's called My Mind is the Mountain. And I have never been so underwhelmed in my life. I was so bummed out by the single. I mean, have you heard it yet, JP?
I haven't yet, but I've been bummed out
It's
by a lot of their more recent stuff.
I feel like they didn't put any effort into it, but it's only the first song off the album so far. So who knows? Maybe they'll get better, but it is definitely verse, chorus, verse. There's no climax with him screaming to bring it up anywhere. It's just sing, kind of rasp, sing, rasp, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm kind of over it.
Yeah. Well, I hate to, but we're gonna have to wrap this up because in 5 minutes the premiere of our new Killer's Confession single, Facts, is coming on. The video premiere is here in 5 minutes on YouTube. So when we get off here, hop over there because the premiere will be starting, and I'll be in the live chat there. And
How,
share that as well as share this.
how the fuck do we make an hour-long episode out of Kraven? We just talked way too much.
We ramble. We hardly even talked about Kraven. We hardly even talked about it.
Yeah,
We talked about everything else. Most of it was
this is
comic
what
book related, though.
yeah, this is what happens when we don't get to have our pre-screen time where we talk and chat. And we're in the chairs together. So sorry. All right, go check out Facts because it's going to be awesome.
We're going to fix that soon. We're going to have the studio together when I get back from the festivals, and Ryan and I are going to get together. We're going to get the in studio stuff done and get back in the swing of things. But I think we'll still be doing some of these. I feel like these we're going to have some of these more of these too. So
I like it.
all righty, CineNerdsPodcast.com. Till next time, later.
Peace.